Hey everyone, it's Asia Dang. Thank you again for joining me on my channel. It's the beginning of the month, which means it is a recap of last month's budget and what is happening this month. I have some updates, guys. I have some really exciting updates. So last budget, I talked about how there were some brands that owed me money. Specifically, I talked about ASICS. And a lot of you guys showed support and showed support in a very particular way. You would go onto their Instagram page and basically say that they owe me money. And I thought that was awesome. And that actually inspired me to do the same. And I just did it maybe a couple days ago. On their latest post, I told them that they owed me money. And today, actually, they messaged me, they DM'd me on Instagram. And now they're in discussions with my manager to pay me my motherfucking money. So hopefully next month's budget will have really great updates, meaning that I've actually received the money in my hand and it is deposited. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I feel like, especially as freelancers, we kind of keep quiet about stuff like that. And I mean, I kept quiet for 2 years, and ASICS isn't the only person that owes me money from 2017, but they were the only people that weren't responding to emails. And I don't want to say ASICS because really it was the PR company who hired me. So ASICS probably as a brand didn't even know what was happening. However, now they do. And I'm not the only one that this happens to, and I know that sometimes we might be a little scared to speak up, but honestly, we have to, because this is our money. We worked hard for it, and we need to be compensated for it. So thank you guys for showing your support. It really helped out. We're in discussions with getting the money plus interest for 2 years. So hopefully next time I do my budget video, we will have the money in the bank. But it did actually inspire me to do something, not necessarily a part of my budget, but I'll go ahead and link this in the description box under my budget for those of you who are freelancers. So I started this payment tracker on my, Excel. I have a separate payment tracker that basically just says who I'm working for, how much it's worth, when it's due, did I accomplish it or did I complete the task, and if they paid me. However, this one is a little bit more in depth, inspired by this particular situation, because what I normally do is I keep all the signed contracts in my email though. So sometimes it's really hard to find them and it's not really organized. So what I'm doing now is I'm downloading all the contracts and I'll go ahead and put it on my hard drive. But I'm also I expanded my payment tracker to include more information. So what we have is the company, and then the scope of work, so SOW, payment, terms of payment, which I think is a really important addition to my payment tracker. So basically, in the contract, it says 30 days after completion, 60 days, 90 days after completion, we will pay you, or you will have payment. So I added that just to keep things on track, because I mean, obviously 2 years is clearly not okay, but sometimes for me, I get really itchy when I don't receive payment after 30 days. But if you go back and look in the contract, sometimes the payment cycles are longer, so 60 or 90. And 90 sucks, but it's still money. So at least this way we can track if they're on time, or if they're late, how many days they are late by. And then completed. And then I also added a contact. So contact info, and where the contract was signed with. So DocuSign is where I normally sign my contracts, but there's other ones that I can't really think of off the top of my head. So this way, if they are late with payment, you can go ahead and you remember who your direct contact was. And for me, I have my management and my agency who deals directly with them, but for this ASICS thing, I took things in my own hand as well, because I know everyone's busy and this might not be a priority for them, but it is clearly a priority for me. So now I have direct contact for whoever was in charge of my contract, and it's going to be all in this sheet. So again, if you are a freelancer, an independent contractor, I'll go ahead and link that in the description box. I know a couple photographers that use QuickBooks, and I actually tried it. I paid for the subscription for I think about a month as a way to track my payment. But for me, it didn't really... For me, it was kind of just a waste of money, because with photographers, like, they're the ones in charge of sending the invoice and receiving payment directly. Whereas for me, again, I have my management and my agency that takes care of that. And QuickBooks is something that did that for them, and you can control like your mileage and stuff. And definitely a lot of photographers had recommended QuickBooks to me. Again, I found that it was kind of unnecessary, especially to pay monthly. So I'm just going to use my spreadsheet and manually type things in, just because I didn't need all the features. So take a look at what my particular tracker in the description box. And if you want to try QuickBooks, if you think that might be a little bit easier for you, I definitely, again, a lot of people say they like it. So go ahead and test it out. But main thing, we are in talks with ASICS, and thank you guys. I'm glad I was vocal about that, because again, I kept my mouth shut for 2 years, and where did that get me? Nowhere. So sometimes you just gotta shout it from the rooftops, and sometimes you might find out, like in this case, that they didn't even know what was happening. So they were very apologetic. Apologetic. Holy shit. But will I work with them again? No. However, I did pay $6,000 towards my loans in the month of July, which means that I am under $40,000 left on my last loan payment. I honestly thought that I would be closer to being done by this time of the year, but and sometimes I get mad at myself, even though I guess kind of my fault, because there was like 2 months where I didn't work. But sometimes that's life. You can't put too much pressure on yourself. And the one thing that I've learned throughout this journey is that if you start making yourself feel bad about your financial decisions, you're just going to make this whole process that much harder for you. So trying to be a little bit more forgiving towards myself. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I know that by the end of the year, I will be debt free. And whoo, that like gave me the heebie-jeebies saying that. So we just got to keep on pushing with what we can do. Current balance, $39,617.32. So it's starting to happen, guys. The balance getting lower and lower and lower. So let's, yay. Luke has been, Lukey bear. Hi, baby. Lukey has been, once again, a problem child. We had to go to the vet, which costed about $250 because he had an infection in his paw. Like, I love him, but he is a money suck. But we're not going to give him away because he is part of the family. But again, this must be said, animals are a huge financial responsibility, okay? And I think last time when I talked to Luke when he had surgery, luckily we had insurance, so we got most of the money back. But I was actually really surprised and disappointed at the amount of people who said to give my dog away. And I will never do that because he's my son, essentially. So again, if you're thinking about getting a pet, or just not necessarily even in debt, but just want an animal, just be very aware that they are very expensive. I mean, Levi is super healthy and we don't really have to worry about him, but still we have shots, we have teeth cleanings, we have food, and I make them food or like get the more healthier food for them, so we don't have to worry about these issues as they get older because they're still fairly young. So just want to go ahead and say that again, animals are very expensive. So if you don't have one, then just know that if you're thinking of getting one. But also, I know a lot of us, they're a part of our family. And even though we may be struggling sometimes, they are definitely a part of our priority. And again, that's why I have them in my budget and also have an emergency fund for them. So we could be sleeping in the car, but we'd still have money dedicated to them. In terms of future, again, by the end of the year, I will be debt free. I have started talking to my money guy, my financial advisor, Todd, who I went to high school with. So I've known him for years. How old am I? 30? Like 18, at least 15 years. So I trust him and he knows what I want. The difference between him and the one that I had before is that she kept on pushing me to invest now, invest now, invest now. Your student loans can wait. You don't have to pay those off now, but this is what you need to do. Whereas Todd is like, I know what you're trying to do. Pay off your loans and let's take next steps after. So that's something to remember, and that's something that Dave Ramsey says all the time. I actually haven't listened to his podcast too much lately, but he definitely says, like, if you're looking for an expert, no matter what it is, make sure that they have the heart of a teacher, where they take the time to explain things to you in a way that you understand, and that they know your goals and don't push their goals onto you. So I'm very happy with Todd, and right now we're talking about next steps. Even though we're still months away, it's time to start that conversation, and I'm really excited. Basically, what's next? Retirement. Saving up for retirement, saving up for a home. We're going to definitely try and save up for a home in Houston, which will thankfully be cheaper because we only need a 1-bedroom, but that would kind of be a rental when Brian and I are not there, since we go there quite often because that's where Brian is. And then just other business ventures that we're talking about. So once I dive into that, I don't want to talk about it too much now because obviously I'm not living the life. So I feel like I wouldn't be able to explain things to you properly. But 2020, that is the goal for where the money is. Another big thing that's happening, I think this month, August, is that I will actually be trying to combine both Brian and my finances together. Maybe not necessarily combined, that might be the wrong word, but I'm going to actually take over the finances for him and for the household. And I get a lot of questions about, how do you guys balance your budget and stuff? And the truth is that I take care of myself and Brian takes care of himself. And that's cool and that works for us. But I think now that he's seeing what I'm doing with my money, he wants to definitely be more involved in where his money goes. However, he's not too sure of how to do that. So I'm going to take that over for him in terms of, saving for taxes, investing, because he definitely makes more money than me, and, bills and stuff. So that's going to be an interesting venture. Probably take that over by the end of the month. So now it's just trying to figure out what will work best for us as a household, as a family, because right now it's very clear cut. Brian pays for his stuff and then kind of like the subscription and automated payments for the household, and I pay for the dogs and the food. And right now I think that works pretty well still, but I don't know, it's going to be an interesting experiment, but I also think it's really important for us as a family to start combining just at least a little bit of our finances, especially since purchasing a home is the next step, which would be something that we're doing together. So if you guys have any tips for me about best ways to go about doing this with both Brian and my finances, please let me know in the comments. It's something that I'm kind of nervous about, just because I don't know, I don't want to, not that I would fuck things up, because I already did that with my life, so I definitely wouldn't do that with his. But it's just kind of retaining the balance that we have right now as individuals while putting everything together, if that makes sense. So let me know. And also, something that I find really judgmental, and it's not even about you guys on YouTube, but I find that a lot of Dave Ramsey Facebook pages that I'm a member of, when younger people, like our generation, maybe 30, mid 30s and below, when they ask comments or questions about living together with their partner even though they're not married, or combining finances even though they're not married, a lot of the older people kind of attack them, like, you shouldn't do that until you're married, blah, 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 blah. And I think that that's just like a really closed-minded way of looking at it. Like, our generation is significantly different in the way we think and what we do with our money, and just the way we live, than those people that are, I guess I would say that they're like 60 and up. So if you're that person that's going to say that I need to wait till marriage to start getting a home together with my boyfriend, even though we've been together for 6-7 years, save your breath. I'm not going to listen to you. So if you're that person who seems to be kind of attacked for wanting to move on with their significant partner even though they're not married, then hey, stay in this channel, no judgment here. And of course, open to any kind of tips and tricks from you guys of how to navigate this new venture in our relationship, which I think would be the last step before us, officially getting married and combining everything together. Which, by the way, a lot of you are asking, when are you going to get married? And for me, paying off my student debt has been a goal that I've been it's something very important to me. And Brian knows, don't do anything until after I pay off my debt, because that is something I want to accomplish by myself and before anything happens. And that's just personally my opinion on things, but just wanted to update you guys, so stop fucking asking. Okay? I think that's it. Hopefully, I feel like I keep on saying this month after month. Hopefully the payments will pick back up again. But that's it. That's the budget for the month. Everything will be in the description box, the new template, and my budget as always. So I'm Asia Dang. Thank you so much for watching. Any tips, comments, tricks, suggestions, let me know in the comments section, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.